Welcome into Texans Today, everybody. I'm your host, Jeremy Chuggs, and coming up on today's program, Texans at Packers, Lambeau Field, Week 7 matchup. Probably the best matchup of this entire weekend slate. I'll be breaking down everything you need to know around this matchup, giving some keys to victory on how the Texans can take down those cheeseheads up north. But I got to give respect where respect is due. We have an elite jersey matchup. Woo, woo, woo. Sound the sirens because the Packers, they're wearing the all whites. And I mean, real recognize real, these are fresh. And then the Texans, to counteract that, kind of look at the Texans uniform tracker, they're wearing the all blues. My favorite matchup is all whites versus all of like the monochromatic, either black or the like navy blue or red. I think that look is so fresh. So the all whites versus the all deep steel blue is going to look amazing this Sunday. But before we get into all the nitty gritty, the injury reports, the keys to victory, I want to hear from you folks at home. Crystal ball time. Predict the score of Texans versus Packers this weekend. I'll be looking in the comment section. If you're watching my live show, which I'll be live this Sunday for Texans versus Packers, if you're watching and you get the correct score prediction in the comment section, free raffle ticket. We have a dope giveaway this week. My guy Texan Stressins on Twitter, he's giving us a free t-shirt to give away this Sunday. So if you want a chance to win that bad boy, it's absolutely fresh. I don't even think I told my producer Trace about it yet. It's the Step Brothers picture, but it's Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter. It's absolutely fresh. So if you want a chance to win that this weekend, get those score predictions down in the comment section and join me this Sunday. Let's talk about the injury reports first because a lot of injuries on both sides. Let's start with the good guys, the Houston Texans. Out versus the Packers, we already knew this from a couple days ago. Jimmie Ward, he will not play in Green Bay. The safety has been dealing with injury issues all year long, so nothing different this week. He is out. This came a couple days ago as well. Not good. Kamari Lassiter could miss a couple weeks. He's dealing with basically shoulder issues, back of the shoulder, a scapula. He will be out this week, possibly a couple weeks down the road. Robert Woods, questionable with a foot injury. Now, Nico Collins already out. Robert Woods has been somebody who this team goes to whenever they need somebody, whenever they're not sure about something. Remember, when Steven Sims was having trouble returning those punts, who did they put in? This guy right here, Robert Woods. Laremy Tunsil, he left the Patriots game with an ankle injury, did not return, but I think he'll be good to go this Sunday. I mean, it just seems like throughout the week, he's injured. He's not practicing early on in the week, and then, Friday comes around and he's limited at practice and he's good to go on Sunday. So I think Laremy Tunsil could be good to go on Sunday. Somebody who's a little bit more up in the air, Azeez Al-Shaair, dealing with a little bit of a knee injury that he suffered during that Patriots game. He is questionable to play on Sunday, and so is Henry To'oTo'o, the other starting linebacker. He's in concussion protocol, and this one actually kind of flew under the radar during the Patriots game because the Texans ended up putting all their backups in. So I just assumed, oh yeah, all these guys aren't playing, so no biggie here. Now it comes out Henry To'oTo'o dealing with concussions-like symptoms and in concussion protocol. Not good if both those guys are out because, reminder, Christian Harris has yet to be activated off of IR, who was supposed to be the starting linebacker to begin with for this Texans team. So I ask you folks at home, are you worried about the linebacker depth on this team, especially with Azeez Al-Shaair, Henry To'oTo'o? Those guys are out. It's getting pretty thin, in my opinion. This is the pinned comment on today's video. I'll give you my answer after this YouTube ad break. Scroll on down and let me know your thoughts. Yeah, I'm a little worried. I mean, the Texans do have some okay depth there at the linebacker spot with Neville Hewitt, who has a lot of experience in the NFL. Also, Jake Hansen. But it's definitely not where you want to be. You're not like, oh yeah, I feel great about this linebacker room. It's serviceable, but it's definitely not ideal to have those guys out, especially going up against this Packers team. Now let's talk about those Green Bay Packers. Elton Jenkins, questionable with the knee injury, was limited at practice. I think he should be good to go, but just an injury that you have to look out for because this Texans defensive line could be swarming this Sunday. A target for Jordan Love dealing with an ankle injury is Christian Watson. He's up in the air whether he'll play on Sunday. Also, Jaden Reed, the other wide receiver that they have, is also dealing with an ankle injury this week. So just something to keep noted, keep tabs on as we look at this Texans and Packers injury reports throughout the week. Another key Packers player that is on the injury report, Jaire Alexander and Kenny Clark, two of their stars along the defensive side. Kenny Clark at the defensive tackle position, I mean, he can wreck a game, especially with those two guys on the outside. Kenny Clark, he could be a big deal. And then, as I mentioned, Jaire Alexander dealing with the groin injury with this Texans wide receiver room. Without Nico Collins, you have Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell still there. Jaire Alexander's not playing. I don't know who's guarding Diggs. I don't know who's guarding Dell on that team. Coming up in just a moment, we have some keys to victory up against the Green Bay Packers. I'll let you know what the Texans have to do to beat down, to shred up those cheeseheads over there in Wisconsin. But first, a word from today's sponsor. Today's show is brought to you by Ollie. Clean, fresh nutrition for your dog. My pup, Sadie, absolutely loves it. Maybe she's a little bit older than a pup, but she absolutely loves Ollie, and I know your dog will too. Right now, Ollie is offering a fantastic deal to let your pup taste test a personalized meal plan. Get 60% off your first box of meals when you use promo code CHATSPORTS at ollie.com. In 5 flavors they'll absolutely love. You don't have to be a vet to know that feeding your dog real, whole foods with minimal processing is one of the best choices you can make for their health. With no harmful fillers and no preservatives, Ollie is made in the U.S. Kitchens with ingredients carefully sourced from trusted growers and producers around the world. Here's how it works. Fill out Ollie's 30-second quiz, and they'll create a customized meal plan. Ollie then crunches the numbers and recommends the right recipes and daily portions for your pup. For any first-timers, Ollie will send out your pup's first box with 2 weeks' worth of meals and a guide on how to gradually switch them over to their new diet. Customize your plan. Ollie offers 3 meal plans to choose from, so you can choose between a full fresh plan, fresh topper plan, or a mixed plan with their freshly baked recipes. So head to ollie.com, tell them all about your dog, and use code CHATSPORTS, and you'll get 60% off your first box of meals when you subscribe today. Head to ollie.com and enter code CHATSPORTS to get 60% off your first box. They offer a clean bowl guarantee on their first box, so if you're not completely satisfied, you can get your money back. And my pup, Sadie, she is definitely a picky eater, but whenever she got that first little bite, that first little nibble of Ollie, I knew it. I could see the twinkle in her eye. She absolutely loved it. I know your dog will too. So once again, head over to ollie.com and use code CHATSPORTS and get that 60% off your first box. Today's keys to victory up against the Green Bay Packers. First up on my list, you got to keep Love in the pocket. Another guy who likes to kind of extend plays, keep things going, roll outside, and let his wide receivers, which he has many of, kind of make moves over there in the secondary. Jordan Love also was called the best QB that we've played so far by DeMeco Ryans. And reminder, the Texans have played Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills, which many regard to be a top 5 quarterback. I don't know if Jordan Love is quite up to Josh Allen's pedigree. Now, the Texans did dominate Josh Allen when they did play up against the Bills, but also, Josh Allen didn't really have any targets during that game. Everybody seemed to be kind of injured. He didn't really have a wide receiver 1, which that changed with the Amari Cooper trade. But as I said, Jordan Love, highly regarded by this Texans coaching staff. We'll have to see what DeMeco Ryans is able to scheme up this Sunday to stop Jordan Love and company. Another key to victory for this Houston Texans defense, stop the run up the middle, which it's going to be a little bit harder, especially with those injuries that we talked about earlier to the linebacking room. And you also have a new defensive line that you're rolling out. You basically swap out Mario Edwards Jr. for DeMeco Autry, which in theory you're like, oh, DeMeco Autry was kind of like the higher profile guy coming in. And I think that, he'll be really good. The only problem is I think Mario Edwards Jr. brings you more in the run game than DeMeco Autry. DeMeco Autry is more of a pass rush specialist at that, defensive tackle, at that 3 technique. I think you might lose a little bit in the run game, and if both your linebackers are out, that run up the middle becomes very enticing for Matt LaFleur. And the Packers, they have a new running back in town in Josh Jacobs, who has played decently throughout the year. Now, their stud running back, the rookie Marshawn Lloyd, will not be playing this week, but Josh Jacobs, he has the potential to have a breakout game this week, especially if the Texans don't tighten it up in the middle and stop the run in between the tackles. That is going to be a big key to victory for this Texans defense. Let's move over to the offense, though, because we talked about their run game. The Texans look to be pretty good in the run game, too, with their newly acquired running back this offseason, Joe Mixon. He was out for multiple weeks, and he burst onto the scene once again in Week 6 up against the New England Patriots. He had himself a field day, and I know I only have the rushing numbers up there, but he's also a beast out of the backfield. He caught a touchdown last week, too, so he can do it on the ground. He can also do it catching the ball out of the backfield. We need to feed Joe Mixon. He, with Nico Collins out, is a guy that can really help this Texans offense keep on moving. And he kind of hides some of the holes up along the offensive line and their run blocking. He's able to make some moves, make things happen where he turns losses of 2 into gains of 4, gains of 5. And that's what you need with this Texans offense. Another guy who kind of burst onto the scene also last week, Dameon Pierce. We hadn't seen him since Week 1, and he had that amazing 54-yard touchdown run up against the Patriots to kind of seal it towards the end of that game. Is Dameon back? Is Dameon Pierce back? I mean, we were all looking for rookie Dameon Pierce, and, you know, the guy who was absolutely just rumbling, stumbling over guys. Is he that guy once again? I don't know, but I kind of like what the Texans have with both those guys. And obviously the Texans feel very comfortable with their running back room as they traded Cam Akers to the Minnesota Vikings this week. The next key to victory for your Houston Texans, limit the 3rd and long. I just talked about how Joe Mixon can turn a 2-yard loss into a 3 or 4-yard gain, and that's what you need, because if you can give C.J. Stroud opportunities in 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, he's shown that he is one of the best quarterbacks under pressure, one of the best quarterbacks on 3rd down. I believe PFF has him rated as the best quarterback when being blitzed this season. He can absolutely dice defenses apart, but you don't need to make it harder on him. We don't need to have 3rd and 12, 3rd and 15, and have CJ try to, complete the ball down the field and get miraculous first downs all throughout the game. You need to kind of manage those downs and distances, and this kind of goes with Bobby Slowick as well. Can we get some more 3rd and shorts? Can we get some more maybe 2nd and shorts? So you kind of have a couple options. If you're at second down and 2, 2nd down and 3, you can still run the ball, or maybe you can try to take the top off the defense and throw a deep bomb. Either way, CJ's gonna cook this weekend. You just got to help him out a little bit with the play calling up against this Packers front 7. And speaking of that Packers front 7, I'm looking at the offensive line. No penalties, and you got to protect C.J. Stroud. Those two things, and I think the Texans are in great shape this weekend up against the Packers. This Texans offensive line looked much better this past week, a la against the New England Patriots, who aren't a very good football team. But if Laramie Tunsil, Kenyon Green, Juice Scruggs, Shaq Mason, Titus Howard, if those guys can hold it down and protect C.J. Stroud, that'll be big for this Texans team. We talked about Kenny Clark earlier, but the Packers have a pair of edge rushers that are very good. Rashawn Gary, I know it only says 1 sack, but he is a really good edge rusher in this league, and I'm somewhat worried about him going up against Titus Howard on that right side at the right tackle spot. Might be a little bit of a advantage for the Green Bay Packers because Rashawn Gary is a very good pass rusher. So is Preston Smith on the other side. 2.5 sacks on the year does Preston Smith have, and I think him, along with Rashawn Gary, Kenny Clark, if he's healthy, this Texans offensive line will have their hands full. And especially if this Packers defense is going to send exotic blitzes, send stunts the Texans' way, they've got to hold up. They've got to make sure that they protect number 7 and he stays on his feet. And I made it my key to victory for the past 2 weeks. You got to limit the penalties because that's what has absolutely killed the Texans team early on this year. It's worked. Laramie Tunsil, 2 straight weeks. No penalties. So I'm asking you again, please, offensive line, please, I'm begging you, no penalties this week. Can we limit the false starts? I mean, if we have a holding once or twice, I get it, but can we just limit the penalties? Let's keep on moving forward, and let's not get in those 3rd and long situations by getting penalties and having, stupid brainhead plays where we know the Texans offense is really good and really talented. We don't need to shoot ourselves in the foot. We don't need to, because the only thing that can stop this Texans offense half the time is this Texans offense. Now, quick reminder, this Sunday, I'll be live Week 7 matchup here on the channel, so join me. Be there or be square, because we're going to be rooting on our Houston Texans. Hopefully, they go to 6-1 and take a stranglehold of the AFC South. Join me this Sunday and make sure you hit that sub button.